Imagine this. You've been in a conversation, maybe a heated one, or maybe you simply disagreed with someone you cared about. Suddenly, they go silent. Not a word, not a glance, not even a response to your texts or calls. It's like you've disappeared from their world. The silence is deafening. It isn't the absence of words that's so painful, it's the absence of acknowledgement. The deliberate withdrawal of attention. In that moment, you might ask yourself, what did I do wrong? Why are they doing this? And in your search for answers, you're left with nothing but the crushing weight of their silence. You see, this is one of the most insidious and emotionally draining tools in the narcissist arsenal, the silent treatment. It is not just a quiet response, it's a weapon used to control, to manipulate, and to break down your sense of self. But here's the catch. It doesn't have to. The silent treatment is not about conflict resolution. It's not about cooling down after an argument. It's a tactic used to assert dominance, to punish, and to enforce emotional control. Narcissists use silence to make you question yourself, to destabilize your emotions, and to make you fight for their approval or attention. The emotional toll it takes on you can be staggering. It creates a sense of isolation, frustration, and confusion. And when you're in the midst of it, it's easy to feel helpless. But I'm here today to tell you this. You don't have to let the silence destroy you. Today we're going to explore how narcissists use the silent treatment as a weapon, how it impacts you, and most importantly, how you can reclaim your power and take back control of your life. It's time to understand the psychological games at play and recognize how you can rise above them. To truly understand how narcissists use the silent treatment, we need to first recognize that it is not just silent. It's a strategy for emotional control. For a narcissist, control is everything. They crave admiration, they crave attention, and they crave validation. When they feel threatened, whether it's through a challenge to their authority or a disagreement with their viewpoint, they lash out. But instead of engaging in a productive conversation or confrontation, they withdraw. Why? Because silence gives them control. When they stop speaking to you, when they shut you out, they put you in a position where you have no power. You are left in a state of emotional limbo, desperately seeking answers, wondering what went wrong, and yearning for their attention. This emotional uncertainty is exactly what the narcissist wants. It places you in a position of powerlessness while they hold all the cards. Think about it. Why is silence so powerful? Because silence leaves room for uncertainty. It leaves questions unanswered. It breeds anxiety. When you're faced with silence from someone who means something to you, your mind starts spinning. You replay everything you said, everything you did, every interaction, wondering if you offended them, if you made them angry, or if you somehow pushed them away. And in the silence, you search for answers, even when they're not given. And while you're consumed by this emotional turmoil, the narcissist is comfortably sitting in their power. The longer they keep the silence going, the more control they have over your emotions, the more they dominate your thoughts. They know that you'll try to fix the situation, and in doing so, they manipulate you into seeking their approval, into apologizing even when you don't know what you're apologizing for. They've got you chasing something that isn't even real, approval and validation that they have no intention of giving. But this is where you need to recognize that you are not helpless. The moment you realize that the silent treatment is just a game of emotional manipulation, you can break free from its control. When you stop seeking answers from someone who is not willing to provide them, you start taking back your power. You stop chasing someone who's deliberately pushing you away. You stop fighting for someone's approval. And instead, you begin to fight for your own emotional well-being. The truth is, the silent treatment only works if you let it. It only works if you continue to seek validation from the very person who is denying it. The key to breaking free is to stop playing their game. When you refuse to be manipulated by silence, you take back your power. You stop being the victim and start being the one in control of your emotion. Now, let's take a deeper look at why narcissists use the silent treatment in the first place. At their core, narcissists have a fragile self-esteem. Despite their outward confidence, their bravado, and their desire for dominance, they are often deeply insecure. They crave validation. They need admiration. They require constant reinforcement that they are superior to others. When a narcissist feels that their self-perceive is threatened, they often react by withdrawing, shutting off the very thing they crave, attention. By withholding affection, communication, or acknowledgement, they create a power dynamic where you are forced to seek them out. The narcissist might not say a word, but their silence is a powerful message. You need me. You need my validation to feel whole. And what do we do when we feel rejected or ignored? We reach out. We apologize. We try to fix things. But the more we try to fix things, the more we play into their hands. Narcissists are addicted to the power they derive from others seeking their approval. They thrive on the attention they receive when people chase after them. By giving them your attention, your apologies, or your need for their approval, you reinforce their sense of importance. The longer the silence continues, the more they feel validated because they are forcing you to prove your worth, to fight for their recognition. But again, the most powerful thing you can do is to stop seeking their validation. When you stop reaching out, when you stop trying to fix something that they deliberately broke, you disrupt the cycle. The silence loses its power. You stop being their emotional puppet. This doesn't mean you stop caring or walk away from a relationship without resolve. It means you stop feeding into the narcissist's need for control and validation. You stop chasing a ghost. At the end of the day, the silent treatment is about control, not communication. Narcissists use silence to control your emotions, to manipulate you into chasing their approval. But when you understand that the narcissist's behavior is a reflection of their insecurities, not your failures, you can begin to break free from the cycle of emotional manipulation. The final and perhaps most important point in understanding how to deal with the narcissist's silent treatment is realizing that you have the power to choose how you respond. You are not a passive participant in this game of emotional manipulation. You have the ability to reclaim your power and take control of your own emotional well-being. Here's the thing about the silent treatment. It only works as long as you allow it to. If you find yourself obsessing over their silence, constantly checking your phone for messages, or constantly wondering what you did wrong, you're playing right into their hands. The narcissist knows that the more you chase them, the more they feel validated, the more control they have over you. But you have the ability to change the rules of the game. You have the power to walk away, to stop engaging, and to take back your emotional energy. Reclaiming your power starts with setting boundaries. When someone is using silence as a weapon, the first step is to recognize that you don't have to accept it. You don't have to keep seeking a response from someone who has chosen to withdraw. Instead, focus on what you can control: your emotions, your actions, and your response. You are not responsible for the narcissist's behavior. You are responsible for your own. And when you set boundaries, you stop being at the mercy of their emotional manipulation. It's also crucial to acknowledge your worth. Narcissists often make you feel like you are insignificant, like you are unimportant, or like you are the problem. But that's not the truth. You are worthy of respect, of love, and of honest communication. When you begin to believe in your own worth and stop accepting the silent treatment as acceptable behavior, you begin to reclaim your power. You stop seeing their silence as a reflection of your failure and start seeing it as a reflection of their inability to engage in healthy communication. Lastly, remember this: you do not need anyone's approval to be complete. You are whole, worthy, and enough, with or without the narcissist's attention. When you begin to realize that, you become emotionally invincible. Their silence no longer holds the power it once did. You stop seeking their approval because you understand that your worth is not tied to their acknowledgement. The next time you face the silent treatment, whether it's from a narcissist or anyone else, remember that you have the power to choose your response. You don't have to chase after someone who is emotionally unavailable. You don't have to prove your worth to anyone. Stand tall, set your boundaries, and choose to protect your emotional energy. When you do this, you break free from the narcissist's silent grip, and you take back control over your life. And that, my friends, is how you stop being a pawn and start being the master of your own destiny. Stand strong, reclaim your power, and never let anyone use silence as a weapon against you. You are worthy of love, respect, and honest communication. Never forget that. There are few things more frustrating, more deeply unsettling than being caught in the web of a narcissist's silent treatment. It's a tactic that cuts deeper than any harsh words, more damaging than any outward confrontation. Silence can be so powerful, so paralyzing, it makes you doubt yourself, question your worth, and feel like you've been cast aside without explanation. The very absence of it's in these moments, in this silence, that you are left to wrestle with your own emotions, your own insecurities, and the gnawing question of why this is happening to you. But let me make one thing clear. This silence, this weapon that a narcissist wields with such precision, does not define you. It never has and it never will. If you allow yourself to get lost in the silence, to wonder endlessly what you did wrong, to lose sleep over unanswered messages or cold shoulders, then the narcissist is winning. That's the exact effect they want to have on you. They want you to feel powerless, to feel like the silence is something you need to fix. But that is precisely when you need to stop looking outward for answers and start looking inward. The truth is, this silent treatment isn't about you at all. It's about them. It's their way of manipulating your emotions, making you chase their approval, all while they sit back and watch the power shift into their hands. It's essential that you recognize that silence is not a weapon unless you let it become one. The narcissist tactic works because they understand one thing very well. They thrive on control. When they go silent, they are not just ignoring you, they are trying to manipulate you into chasing them. It's a method that taps directly into your most vulnerable emotional triggers. They know that when they withhold their attention, when they withdraw and make you feel small, you will start to doubt your own worth. You will become anxious, confused, and desperate to fix what seems broken. They know that in that confusion, they have the upper hand. But that's where their power ends. When you refuse to give them the emotional control they seek. To break free from this manipulation, you must first realize something that is crucial. You are not defined by how others treat you, especially when those others use silence as a weapon. The way someone else treats you reflects their emotional issues, not your own. The narcissist's silence is not a reflection of your inadequacy, but a reflection of their inability to engage in healthy, respectful communication. They don't know how to deal with conflict in a productive way, and they choose silence to control you rather than engage honestly. But here's the power you have in that situation. You can choose not to engage with that silence. You can choose to break the pattern of chasing, of trying to fix something that isn't yours to fix. You see, the silent treatment is not just a passive act. It is a carefully crafted tactic. It's a strategy meant to destabilize you emotionally. The narcissist uses it to get you to react, to become anxious, to second-guess your actions, to fight for their attention. And in doing so, surrender your sense of self. They withdraw, and they make you feel like you're the one who needs to apologize, to fix the situation, to earn back their favor. This isn't an accident. It's intentional. They want to see how much you will bend to please them, how far you will go to win their affection. They want to manipulate your emotions into making you feel like you are nothing without their approval. But this is a power struggle. They are seeking control. But when you recognize what they're doing, you can turn the tables. What's critical in these moments is understanding that you have a choice. The narcissist may be silent, but you don't have to be. You don't have to chase after them, apologize for things you didn't do, or beg for validation. In fact, by doing so, you are giving away your power. This is the moment where you decide who you are. You decide if you're going to stand firm in your own emotional truth or if you're going to bend to the narcissist's will. You have the power to walk away, to stop playing the game, and to free yourself from the emotional manipulation that has been holding you hostage. Now, it's not easy to do this, I understand. The silent treatment can be emotionally painful. It makes you feel isolated, unsure, and rejected. In the absence of their words, your mind races, seeking explanations, looking for reasons. The silence creates an emotional void. And that void is what you need to fill, not with self-doubt or self-blame, but with self-respect and self-connection. Think about the strength it takes to face that silence without crumbling, to look within yourself and say, I am enough, with or without their validation. I do not need to chase after approval or attention from someone who is intentionally withholding it from me. This is where you reclaim your emotional power. You stop letting silence be a weapon. You take control of your emotional responses and stop letting someone else dictate your worth based on their ability to engage with you. I know it's tempting to reach out, to break the silence, to make them acknowledge you. We've all been there, where the silence feels unbearable and we feel like we can't bear the weight of being ignored any longer. But reaching out doesn't bring you peace. It only prolongs the agony. It keeps you trapped in the cycle of their manipulation. It keeps you hooked on their emotional highs and lows. Instead, when you choose to break the pattern, when you choose to disengage, you create emotional freedom for yourself. You say to the narcissist, and more importantly to yourself, I will not be controlled by your silence. I will not let you dictate my emotional state. And this is the key to regaining your power. You stop internalizing the narcissist's behavior. You stop making their treatment of you the measure of your worth. The narcissist wants you to believe that their silence is a punishment, that it's something you deserve because of something you've done wrong. But this is a lie. Their silence isn't about you. It's about their need for control, their inability to communicate, and their fear of emotional intimacy. The truth is their silence is not your fault. When you come to this realization, something incredible happens. You begin to see through their manipulative tactics. You start to recognize their games for what they are. And in doing so, you stop playing along. You stop reacting emotionally to their silence. Instead, you take charge of your own emotional responses. You reclaim your power and begin to make decisions based on your own values, your own needs, and your own boundaries. But breaking free from the narcissist's silent grip isn't just about stepping away from them. It's about stepping into your own power. It's about choosing to honor yourself, your needs, and your worth, regardless of how someone else is behaving. This is where the real change happens. Not just in your relationships with narcissists, but in how you relate to the world around you. You begin to show up as your most authentic, empowered self, knowing that you are worthy of respect, love, and honest communication. And once you take back your power, something magical happens. The narcissist loses their grip on you. Their silence no longer has the same impact. It no longer holds the emotional weight it once did. You've learned to live without their approval, without their attention, and with a newfound sense of freedom. The longer you remain free from their emotional manipulation, the more you grow, you begin to attract healthier, more fulfilling relationships based on mutual respect, open communication, and emotional authenticity. This journey is not easy, and it will not happen overnight. It takes time, practice, and a deep commitment to yourself. But as you begin to set boundaries, to reclaim your emotional power, and to stop playing the narcissist's games, you will notice profound changes in your life. You will start to feel more confident, more centered, and more at peace with who you are. So the next time you face the silent treatment, I encourage you to take a step back. Don't chase after the narcissist for answers. Don't beg for their attention or affection. Instead, step into your own power. Reclaim your emotional sovereignty. Know that you are not defined by someone else's silence. You are defined by your strength, your integrity, and your ability to choose your own path. You have the power to break free from the manipulation, to stop the cycle of emotional dependency, and to start living a life filled with self-respect, peace, and emotional freedom. When you realize this, the narcissist's silence will lose its power over you. You'll walk away from their emotional games, and you'll walk toward a life that is truly yours, one where you are in control, confident, and free.